Why are we hiding? Why are we waiting? Why are we sitting off to the side, blaming ourselves and feeling lost? When the truth is, we're not really lost. We're just not even off track. We're literally off grid. We've unplugged from the source, disconnected from our power. And today is the day to reclaim our power, to reconnect to all that we were ever meant to be. Because hiding is hurting you, and your voice is the thing that's going to fix all that pain for you and for the people who are waiting on you. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 38 books and counting, and I have the wonderful privilege of having worked with 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But ultimately, really what I am is I am the transformational architect of visibility. That's right, your visibility. We're here, I'm here today to talk to you about what you need to be doing, because you are valuable and your value needs to be visible. You need to be visible and valuable all the time, in every moment. You need to be seen, to be heard, and to be making the impact that only you can make in this world. I see you. In fact, for way too much of my life, I've actually lived as you. Lived in that same place, that hidden, tucked away, less than, even yes, zombie state. When we should be changing the world, instead, what we're doing is we're living small, living in fear, living in the messages that other people have said about us. What are the messages that other people have said? I talked about this a little bit the other day. Somebody says something extremely hurtful to us. Maybe they meant it on purpose. Maybe they knew it would hurt. Maybe they didn't even think about what they were saying and they had no idea how much it would hurt. Maybe they were just dealing with their own stuff, and they didn't think about you at all. I heard Dr. Phil say one time, probably the thing that would hurt our feelings the most would be if we knew just how little people are actually thinking about us. We all kind of tend to do that too, don't we? We're off living our own lives, doing our own thing, being whatever we're being, often not, forget about the best version of ourselves, not any version of ourselves, because somebody else's message. And they said it once, and then they moved on. That's the worst of abuse, isn't it? The person says or does something, and it hurts you in some ways for the rest of your life. And often in this place that we're in right now, that I was in a month ago, that you're in right now, we're doing the damage to ourselves that person did that one time or multiple times. I don't want to discount how awful and horrible some of the things were. Sometimes we wish that the people who had abused us the most would have just left visible scars, marks and bruises and things that, I don't know, we could have gone to the police about, or we could have had pictures about, or we could have seen the next day in the mirror. But most of those abuses, they were things that went inside of us. And the worst of them, and I'm talking from my own experience here, is the things that are subtle. It's the age-old concept of, how do you boil a frog? You put them in cold water and you turn the heat up and let it slowly warm up. And they just get all comfy in it. And our abusers did that to us, didn't they? Put us in a place, isolated us without us really knowing or realizing we were isolated, and then began taking more and more of our self respect and our human decency away from ourselves, questioned us at every turn, made us feel like nothing was possible, like we couldn't do anything. And before we knew it, that's exactly what we were doing, was nothing. Absolute, total nothing. Just being less than less than. That's why I talked about in my first book, and I've talked about it many times since, about the years, the more than a decade, that I lived as something I can't call anything other than being a zombie, living less than, living in a state where really I was dead. I just didn't have the human decency to lay down and die. I didn't have that in me. You see, and this is the thing I really desperately hope you hear. And that's this. You see, the reason why you made it to today is because of how strong you are. Now, the voice inside of your head is telling you that you're less than, you're worthless, you're weak, you're no good, you have nothing to give. All of those kind of things. But the truth of the matter is you're so fiercely powerful that in that zombie state, in that dead, you weren't able to lay down and die. People do it every day. There are people who have had enough or too much, and they get to the point where they take their own life, where they live a lifestyle that takes them away. And yet here you are today. I came face to face with the slow version of suicide. There's no other way of putting it, that I was committing to myself. At Maya's wedding in what would that have been? March of 2019. I was 460 pounds. Okay, to give you an idea, looking at me right now, I'm at just a little bit less than 280. Okay, so that's nearly 200 more pounds. And you can see, looking at me, and if I stood up, you could see that I still have a stomach and stuff. And you could see that, there's still weight that I will be releasing. Not losing it because I don't want to find it. I'm releasing it. I don't need it anymore. I needed it. Food was my protector, but it was also the only way that I had of slowly killing myself, of diminishing me more and more and more. You get to the place where you can't breathe well, you can't walk right, you have no energy for anything. And then you just settle for that. You make life be what it is because you've already given up. That's what it's like. The thing about being 460 pounds is everybody that saw me knew I was damaged. I wore my damage. I may as well, if I had had a sign, if I had tattooed on my face, I always, get a kick out of people who tattoo their faces, like, similar to what I'm saying. If I had tattooed on my face, I'm damaged. All that you would have said was, well, duh. We can tell that just looking at you, looking how you take care of yourself. And we hide. Now, for you, it might not be, it might not be food. That was the one thing I had left. And so it was both my comfort as well as my murderer simultaneously. And had I continued down that road, and if I don't continue to take care of myself and to continue to drink the water and live healthy and walk every day and do everything that I can, if I don't continue to do that, I will continue to slowly destroy myself and move towards the slowest, most agonizingly horrible version of essentially committing suicide. But you see, and I want to say this to you again because you need to hear it, whether it's food or drugs or alcohol or sex or, whatever, sexy excuses can be an addiction. All of those kind of things, they become the cave that we hide in to allow ourselves to feel, not really actually be, but feel safe. Because we aren't actually, but we hide it. And we hide it more than anything from ourselves. And we're not tricking ourselves, not really, but we get through another day with our sexy excuses and our coping mechanisms and our hiding techniques. And more than anything, the person that we're hiding ourselves from is ourself. And rather than seeing how incredibly powerful we are, that we end up showing up each day. And a lot of you are just like me. You're 10 or 20 or 50% or whatever. It outshines most people's 100. You could still up level, make differences in people's lives, help people become millionaires, give them insightful, powerful things, have people say amazing things about you, help 5,000 people become best-selling authors. And do it basically on autopilot with your thing. See, it's not about being off track. It's about being completely off grid. You may be online every day. You may be posting a post every day. You may even have accepted the challenge that I keep giving to you, and you may be going live every day. But you're going live behind the mask. There's a commercial on TV. It cracks me up. Because it's talking about a very serious thing, and it does it in a way that I think kind of does a little bit of disservice, because the person has a smiley face and they just kind of, and it's not in front of them. And the truth of the matter is our masks are way sexier than a little placard that we just kind of point towards the person without even looking at them. Our masks hide the truth from even ourselves. We think we're getting it done. We've convinced ourselves. Like I said, you're going out live every single day and you're not really giving out anything. I found myself a couple of days ago. I guess that must have been Thursday evening, maybe Friday. I forget which. I want to say it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday. And I was like, I've been doing this for a month now. And I really because I want this to be raw and real and transformative for you. And so I went and did more research. It's kind of how my brain works anyway. And I really do dig ChatGPT. We have a lot of fun together, coming through things. And and it's seen the transcript of every single one of these lives I've done and seen the transcripts from all the shorts I've done this last month. And, there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of building of the data set. And I took all of that and I took a whole bunch of other information and fed it in. And I said, and I got this really amazing prompt. I wish I had it up in front of me. Really amazing prompt that a friend of mine actually gave to another friend of mine. And that other friend of mine, told me, this is this really great prompt that Brenda told me about. And, I was like, wow, that's a really good prompt, and I used it. And I wanted to really look at There's a book that talks about the difference between the red ocean and the blue ocean, and the red ocean is teeming with sharks and full of blood and is, people are ravaging everywhere, whereas the blue ocean is that unique place that only you can be, where you can show up. And that's what I want to be for you. I want to be fully 100% me, out to you, out of hiding, back on grid, on track, because I want to impact your life. I want to help create for you in your life the architecture for you to transform and be visible and valuable and impactful, because I know that's imperative. And so we were there again. I wasn't as distraught that time as I was a month ago. I wasn't at a place where I was quitting my business like I was a month ago. I've been pretty real and honest with you guys about that. Okay, but I wanted to know, am I really making an impact? And so I went and I looked at all the statistics of all of the people that have or haven't, or the lives or the replays and the shorts and the, how many people are giving me likes and all of those kind of things. And I fed all that in, because I've been telling you this whole last month, statistically speaking, the end of 30 days, you should have one person, just one. So you start the group and now you've got one person in that group. That's success. I'm excited to tell you. And now, yeah, I seeded the group, because I've got 5 or 6 really amazing experts in that group that are just total rock stars in their field. You want to talk about how to really effectively use LinkedIn? Jamie is your go-to girl. You want to talk about how to really truly magnetize media, how to get on the cover of magazines. Willie J, there's nobody I know that, that can get you on covers better than that. If you want to talk about how to use photography powerfully in your life, Christopher's your guy. And the list goes on. Lucretia's in there, and she can help you see through the cracks into, your CRM, and she's an expert at Go High Level, but, different website kind of things and how you're presenting yourself to the world. I've got my buddy Craig in there, and I've got him in there if for no other reason than just keep me encouraged. But if you really, really want to do a deep dive on cryptocurrency, Craig absolutely loves crypto, and he'll go deep and lose you in a minute unless you're really an expert at it. And that's just his jam. And there's several others that are in there, and I apologize to any of you that I didn't mention you by name. And then Patricia came in and joined the group right early on and has done an amazing job of being here live on just about every one of these, and giving a heart. And thanks to my mom, because my mom, will give a heart to just about everything I do, and that not only is it cool, but, it helps the algorithm, and if you need somebody that really wants to take a look at all your systems and go, oh no, you've got 165942111J as your 1234 system. Let's put the numbers in order. Patricia's your girl. She's absolutely the go-to. And she jumped in early. And she gave me one of the most amazing comments. I wish I had it up on here, because she gave me such a huge compliment. And I really appreciate that, because, we all need that in our lives. We need somebody that's going to come in and remind us about how cool we are. That's one of the reasons why I'm here today. It's because you don't see you. You've done a good job of hiding, being way off grid, hidden back as a hermit in a cabin somewhere. And the problem with me using those phrases, you're like, I'm not off grid. I'm not offline. I post every single day. I post powerfully visible and valuable things every single day. That's a sexy half-life, part you, not all of who you are, zombie you, coming out and going through the motions. I've been there. I've done that. Go back and look at my lives, March, April of 2020. You want to see a powerful, effective zombie in action? Look at that stuff. Okay. And then, if you can, take a picture of this or whatever, put my face right now next to that face. Now, I had lost about 60 pounds by about that point. I might have even been 70 down there. I wavered back and forth between 390 and 400 for, after I got down, it took a little bit, but after I got down to the 380, 390 level, I wavered between 385 and 400 for the next pretty much 5 years. Well, 4 years until last year when I, found Energize Health and I really worked on all of those kind of things and have committed to walking every day and moving every day and drinking the water and all those kind of things. Why? Because there's a world to change, because there's a mission that's driving me beyond how delicious nachos are and how sexy my excuses for all the reasons to live less than are. And no, I didn't commit to that a year ago and then everything came in line. It felt like at first like it did. I had a client, which I'm actually, and I said this the other day, I'm actually glad now, in retrospect, that client didn't end up, coming in at the level that they committed to and then jumped out of real quick, because it was a distraction. It was totally off track. And I had offered to give them way, way more. I devalued myself, and I'm talking down to like less than, it would have been about $2 an hour for their expectations based on what they were paying me. It's not on them, that's on me. Okay, I needed to believe in myself enough to be able to say, hey, yeah, you need all of those things and I can oversee those for you, but every single one of those is going to cost you money. I have a worth and value, and it's when we see that. But yeah, like I was saying, if you want to see, a powerful zombie in action, go back and look at my lives in 2020. I did a great job. I was supportive and encouraging, and people were on, and I brought the mostly real Steve. What a lot of you, because I didn't really announce it at all. In fact, it was late April, early May before I even took my wedding ring off, even though, I had been living in an apartment by myself since the end of October. And my wife had moved and was in a totally separate bedroom since like May of the year before, and it was a whole year later before I started telling anybody. I mean, I didn't even tell my own mother. Okay, I did at one point eventually tell my dad. And there was a couple of very close friends that I began to start sharing, what was really going on. But, the world didn't know it. If you look at my eyes, you can sometimes see behind the eyes the pain. And there's some stuff that won't ever be released in books because they don't need to go out. They're just me spewing the hurt and the deep visceral, is that the right word? Anyway, the deep, deep anguishing pain that I was in. And if you look closely, you can see that. And of course, you can see the weight and the mask and the hiding. See, I want to just be raw and real with you today and talk to you about you hiding, because I did it. And then even then, I just continued hiding. I was living in Southern California, place of my own. Things were, kind of okay. But I was lonely. And I created a whole imaginary world where I could come here to Kansas and buy this house and create this total Shangri-La. And it's not that. That's not a diss against anybody that's here now. But this isn't the life I'm supposed to be living. And I've lived it for the last almost 3 years. August, the last day of July 31st or August 1st, I forget which it was. It's when I got here. and I've lived it, and I committed a year to the weight loss, and it'll be another year at least, maybe even two, before I'm down to where I should be. It's slowed a little bit, and I need to do some things about that, but some of that's also good from a health standpoint. But all of those were still just sexy excuses. And I came on live, and I joined a coaching program and was in that coaching program for a year and a half. And I was posting, and you can look, I was following her system, and it's a good system. And I was posting every day, 5 days a week minimum, often 7 days, following the system to the letter. And it was having absolutely no effect. Zero, zip, zilch. Now, I'm not saying that to depress you or disappoint you. I'm saying that until we stop hiding, until we get to that, whatever it takes. I did a book with a guy just recently. Actually, technically, it launched in ebook form over the Thanksgiving holiday, and then the print book. And don't even get me started why the print book took another 2 months to go out. But, the guy went from, borrowing $1,500 with his mom to now he's making like $25 million a year. And honestly, it pissed me off because, quite frankly, no diss to him. He's great at what he's doing, but he's not really that. He doesn't know half the stuff I do. Doesn't have my experience. Couldn't even see the holes in his own system, but he was making money doing it. I went to an event a couple of months ago, and the guy at the event was showing a very well articulated, detailed plan for how you make money from your book. And the money doesn't come from the book, it's everything else that comes from the book. And I said to him, and I had said it to, my mentor that invited me to it. I said to them, now imagine taking all of that and add the phrase bestseller onto that. And he literally said back to me, he's like, yeah, well, that's not believable to people. I'm like, why not? I've done it 5,000 times with 100% success. The only reason why it's not believable to people is because you don't believe it. And the only reason why people don't believe it is because I've been hiding. Not because I'm hijacking everything we're doing about visibility and validity. I'm here to help you architect for and with you the transformation that is going to make you visible, and help you see that that isn't a, just do this one post and it's going to go viral and blah, blah, blah. That's not real. Because your real impact comes from being you and being in the heart and soul and core of that, and maximizing this wonderfully amazing thing called today. Yes, I have a script over here. I'm completely off script. I jumped off of the whole concept of hiding and just went for it because I know that you're listening and you need this and you're hearing it and it's making an impact for you. And I know that at the exact right minute when you're ready to start taking action, to no longer walking around like the zombie, to go, I'm going to do this. I'm committed to it. Not so that I can have these vanity metrics and be able to say, I remember, and this was a lot of years ago, I had this coach. I don't know how well you know Facebook statistics, but Facebook has a thing that's known as reach. Okay, so that's not about how many, people liked and commented, but it's about, how much. It's like that exponential growth of, and this person and that person kind of thing. And it reached out. It was shown to this many people. And it's a whole algorithm thing. And I'm not completely sure I can describe it totally to you. But it's a vanity metric. Because if you have a video that just jumps off, and they happen every once in a while. I had one that I did a repost that, it hit like 1,500. And it was just a repurpose of somebody else's IG video. that I put on Instagram and I put it on TikTok. And it was on TikTok where it really jumped off at, it went, like I said, to about 1,800, which is kind of like woohoo. But, when your average is going about 150 to go to 1,800 in one, from one to the next, that's a huge leap. And the vanity metric on that 1,800, if 150, well, and so if you're talking about Facebook, and on my Facebook, I'm averaging, in video views, I think it's averaging somewhere in the 100 range right now. So if you jumped to 1,000, if you 10x to that, that vanity metric of 10,000 a month that I'm reaching to, if you 10x that, that's 100K. And if you're at 100K and you 10x that, that's 1 million. Does that mean that 1 million people heard your message? Maybe. Does that mean that 1 million people bought your stuff? No. Does that mean that you should focus on the millions? No. Because the person you need to focus on is the one. And right now, that one is that you. Michael Jackson's song, I'm looking at the man in the mirror, right? I'm asking him to change his ways. See, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, be all that you can be. Not 1/1,000,000th of 1% less than 100% of you. I mean, I know we use this phrase like 110%, but the truth of the matter is you can only be 100% you. You can give full out, play full out every day while it's called today. Being the best you that you can be today. Show up. Be on. Because if you just show up as you, raw and real and vulnerable and valuable, because in that vulnerability is where the valuability comes. When you do that, as you do that, not when, because I make it sound like it's an if thing. As you do it, you're going to change the world because you're going to make a difference in the life of that one person. And if it changes the lives of millions, awesome. I'm excited about that too. I left the J off of join us in the Visibility Amplifier community. And I didn't, and ChatGPT keeps reminding me that I need to ask you to make comments. Comment hiding if you're hiding. I need to comment more often, I know. It's time for you to go online. It's time for you to be real and raw and vulnerable and valuable and visible and impactful. And if the only person you affect in your first month is you, if you can go on a live stream just like I'm doing right now, and you can say, hey, I was hiding, but I'm not hiding. I'm here. This is me, every bit of me. And if you weigh 500 pounds or you weigh 120 pounds, if you weigh 85 pounds, if you're anorexic, it doesn't matter what the scale says. It doesn't matter whether you wish that you had clearer skin or, that you did or didn't have a beard or that you had long or short hair or, blue or green or gray or purple or pink or brown eyes. None of those things matter. You matter. You're important. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more of the sexy excuses. Today, right now, go live. Just be you. Just share you. Commit right in this minute. If you're committed to it, say, I'm committed. Post it. Do a video. Pick up your phone. This is our prompt. This is our Sunday prompt. I'm committed to just bring 100% of me to the world today. If you want to really up-level that, I'm committed to bring 100% of myself to the world today. because I'm here to help you. Go for it. You've got this. I believe in you. You can do it. You're amazing. You're incredible. You've got so much more in you. No more zombies. No more hiding. No more sexy excuses. Just simply be all that you can be. Bring 100% of all of you, all of your great parts and all of your fears and failures and flaws, and just dump them out. We'll work together on the clarity. We'll architect your visibility. Right now, what you need to do is just commit to all of you being all out there. The world needs you. Somebody's suffering in your silence. Someone is waiting on you. And now is the time. Today is the day. Go for it. And thanks for doing it. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for spending some time with us here today. Until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.